Hey everybody, this is Alexander from Buddyfight News Corner. I am bringing you the Captain Answer deck profile. Here it is. This is the whole thing except for the sideboard. If you had a burning desire to have your questions answered about what's in the deck, well, here we are. Let's get it rolling. So, of course, Flag is Hero World. Buddy is Captain Answer. The Another Lesson. The Another Lesson. Very important thing to have to remember the on there. Its effect states that counteract during your turn, name monster or spell. You can mill the top card of your deck. If the card you mill is either a monster or spell, as you declared, you can add it to your hand and destroy a monster on your opponent's field, and this card gains double attack until end of turn. And you can only activate this effect once per turn. It is very great in as far as just cranking out the damage dealing plays. Now, the Another Lesson as well as Final Mode both have roughly the same effect, except Final Mode's effect costs a gauge, and Final Mode's effect is not a counter, but it has its exciting moments. Honestly, being able to use the Another Lesson right after you use Final Mode is great. Now, this entire deck is monsters, which means they will always go off. Now, as far as defensive plays, I obviously use the combo of Mock Braver and Mash Dragon back here. There he is. In order to defend myself, as well as a slew of movers. Now, one big thing that I would change with the deck would be to put in the main board Mass Soldiers, probably 3 to 4 of those, because honestly, I sideboarded 4, and that was really good. It saved my rear end in a lot of my matchups because the ability to deal with my opponent's items, because there are so many items right now. I have to look and see whether this is going to be super relevant in the future with all of the new things coming out in Buddyfight X. But yeah, let me just jump to the sideboard real quick. Sideboard for that. 2 Wind Demon Cayman. This card, if my buddy is an impact monster, I can discard it to remove a soul from a monster on the opponent's field. Helps with dealing with certain walls. 1 more Red Arthur. I already run 2 in the main. Having 1 on the side helps with consistency issues. And just being able to get another one. Its effect is great late game. Early game it can be slightly dead. And 3 G-Force for dealing with the Hero World Mirror Match, as well as opponents that rely on bouncing their monsters back to their hand. Very powerful deck. I had a blast with it. I'm able to use Lord Crow and Ironing Man, as well as Project Gunner to help with building gauge. I use Wave Slicer as a mover and as a way to deal extra damage. Mode Speed's in here because of its 6k attack means it can push through a lot of the really relevant things that my opponent's going to put in my way. It's free to call and it's a mover. And the Rampage Sonic is here because it's free to call, it's 3 crit, and I run Rampage Sonic and Prominence Burst at 2 ofs because that's another way to get Red Arthur off by having different names, and because Final Mode requires 2 different superheroes in the drop zone, so having different ones means I can just get there faster. Overall, the deck is a very solid build. I'm probably going to be cutting some things in order to make space for some of my other answers in the main deck, because this is a deck that needs to have the answer to the meta. Also, E-Launch Drum is actually a lifesaver in this deck. It saved my rear end in my matchup with Darkness Dragon World and a number of other things. It helps with applying a great deal of pressure with the deck, and it's actually really funny for me to be able to actually finally use it, because that E-Launch Drum is the first Buddy Rare I ever pulled. Not even gonna lie, this is before the Buddy Rares were much more common like they are now. And Einder is in here as a size 1 that has transformed for 1 gauge, as well as being a size 1 with 2 critical, in order to help with getting a field full of 2 crits to pressure, and just be able to do things. One key thing with the deck is you cannot be afraid to call over your own monsters. Sometimes you will call an Iron Man, you'll call Lord Crow to build gauge, then call right over in order to get an actual functional field. You spend the first part of your turn building your gauge, and then the second half of your turn setting up your field so when you go into combat and also attempt to defend on the next turn, you have your resources. With that stated, this is Alexander Masood with the awesome Captain Answer deck. Captain Answer Monster Mash, all monsters, 50 monsters, no hyper energy needed because I don't use a whole lot of gauge. With that stated, have a nice day. Hopefully you like, comment, subscribe for even more awesomeness here on the Buddyfight News Corner. Alright, now, also the tournament report for how this did will be somewhere in the link, or maybe you followed that link straight to here. With that stated,